episode of Musical Chairs with me, Cheer Up Charlie. And today we have the amazing, the wonderful, somebody who I've been friends with for a while now, since my campaign started. Somebody who's incredibly kind-hearted. Somebody who I see as a hero, but we'll talk more about that later. She's Nikki Bentley, everybody! Whoop, 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 whoop,
whoop, whoop.
Hi, Nikki. How are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you, sweetheart. Very, very well. Getting in the Christmassy spirit.
Oh, that's a bit boring. The only Christmassy thing you can see of mine is of ours that currently is in the screen. There's a little squirrel there, and there's a little Santa there.
Oh, well, I always feel really Christmassy because my birthday's Christmas Eve.
Oh.
So I always love Christmas time.
I can imagine. So if you're ready, we'll get right into the questions.
Let's do it. Fire away.
What age did you discover you loved to perform? And did you always sing and dance?
Yeah, so when I was younger, my mum and dad always enrolled me into like after school dance classes. I did a Sunday stagecoach as well. But I didn't know that I wanted to take it seriously until I was about sort of 15, 16, I would say. And I went to go and see Starlight Express, which was on tour at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember coming out of that show and going, oh my God, that's it. That's what I want to do. I do want, and I've always loved doing it, but that was the moment for me that when this is what I've got to do. This is what I need to do with my life.
I can imagine. So, did you have a really supportive family growing up who were from the arts, or were they like mine and knew nothing? And when you see my mum, ask her what she nearly did to a certain massive household name.
I love that. So yeah, I've been very, very lucky. My family have always been so supportive of my career, and they've never done. And my dad, I think the only sort of musical thing we have in our family is my dad used to be a drummer in the Royal Marines band. So that's the only sort of, musical thing, that my parents did. But my two brothers, they both went to dance classes and stagecoach with me. But again, my middle brother, he was like, no, not for me. My eldest brother, he actually carried it on, and he went on to had many years success working in the holiday park industry as an entertainment started off as one of the what do they call, I don't even know what they call them now, like the troopers, and then went on to be the entertainment manager for Park Dean, which is a huge sort of national group. So me and my brother do it, but I'm the only person sort of in our whole I'm talking like aunties, uncles, cousins, everything, that I'm the only person that's really sort of done it professionally. And it's but every single member of my family is so supportive, and I'm lucky because they've always loved theatre as well. So they are really interested in it. They know about it, and they've learned along the way that the term of phrases that we use. And I love hearing like them sort of describing to other people what a swing is and what an ensemble member is, and it's really lovely. So I'm super, super lucky to have such a supportive family.
So do you want to know what she did?
Yes, tell me, what did she do?
So I'm not going to mention any names, although most of you who are watching these videos, if you've watched for a while now, you already know. But I'm not going to mention any names. But I was about to go on his radio show, and we were outside, and he came up to me, and he ran up to me, and he gave me a massive bear hug. And Mum was like, get off my child. Don't touch my child. She got a mummy head on. And it was only when his lanyard fell out and Mum actually realised.
Oh my goodness. Was it Michael Ball? I think I've seen this before on your page, and I think I've heard that is so brilliant. Your mum is a hero for that. I love that. Absolutely brilliant.
So you trained at the Performers College. Do you believe that training should be accessible to everyone, and how can we help this happen?
So I agree with this, because I do think you find, especially nowadays, I think you find a lot of talented people that have so much potential, but these colleges are, unless they're awarded a scholarship, they're just too expensive for for people to go. And so I do think sometimes it is nice when you see shows offering open auditions. I mean, it's not nice that you have to stand in line for 3-4 hours, but it gives those people that haven't necessarily had the opportunity to go to a professional college to audition for a professional show. And you know, I have a like my best friend Dan, you know, he's done We Will Rock You, Matilda, like he's done so many different things, and he never actually went to a college. You know, so it does happen, you know, and he's absolutely incredible. So I do think it's something, and it's one of those things, it's hard because there's so much money that, you know, to build these places with, you know, the amazing facilities that they do provide. These things do cost money, but I do think it's something that's, you know, I wasn't on a scholarship, you know, I was lucky enough to get awarded one in my final year. You know, and I'm just so lucky that my parents, you know, and they had to struggle to put me through college. And, you know, that's why, that's sort of the drive behind, you know, everything as well, because you want to be successful, because these people have sacrificed their lives to make your dreams come true. And you know, so it is really tough, and I do think it is something that, you know, it's a really hard one, because I don't know what needs to be done to make it more accessible, apart from making it cheaper. But it's you know, there may be smaller projects might be more open to having more open auditions. That's, you know, but it is a tough one. I do agree with you, and it is. And but I do think sometimes you don't necessarily have to have been to a professional college to get into the business.
Definitely. What was your first big break?
So my first big break was, my first show was Mamma Mia. I just graduated from college, and I was lucky enough to get offered swing on Mamma Mia, and that was in London as well. So that was even more incredible that it was the West End. And it was one of the most fun jobs I have ever done. It's just such I mean, and this is why it's been going for years and years and years, because it's such a fun, like, you can't come out of that show and not be smiling and not be jumping around. And
well,
you know,
just listening to you talk about Mamma Mia made my shoulders dance.
Oh, well, exactly, this is it. And it's one of those, it's a proper feel good show. And I do think out of the musicals, you know, we kind of call them jukebox musicals, where you know, they're all based around the songs of a certain artist, or but then they're sort of, a storyline is written to bring all of those songs together. And I do think it's one of the shows where the story really is a lovely story. It's not sort of like, you know, like you've got your We Will Rock Yous, which are sort of set in the future, and it's all a little bit, you know, weird. Whereas this is like this is a true story. It could absolutely happen. And I think that makes it even more sort of relatable for people. And and obviously the songs are just, who doesn't love a bit of ABBA?
Yeah, definitely. So you've had some rather impressive roles, including Wicked, Shrek, The Lord of the Rings, but which one has stood out to you the most?
I mean, it's got to be the Green Show, hasn't it? It's got to be. So doing Wicked was one of, when I say a dream that I never thought was at all. I mean, any interview or Q&A you've ever seen me do, I say the same thing every time. It's ever since the moment I saw the show for the first time, and I was lucky enough to see Adina when it opened in London. And I remember coming out of that show being like, that isn't something I want to do, it's something I have to do. There is something about that part that speaks to me, that has hit me right in my heart, and I can relate to her. I just loved everything about the show. And so my whole career has been, you know, I would love to play Elphaba one day, I would love to do that. And, you know, and first of all, when I got offered Standby, you know, for me, that was enough. I was like, oh my God, even if I just get to play this once in my life, I'll be happy. So to then obviously go on and to actually take over the part in the West End as well was just out of this world. And it just, there's nothing that trumps it, basically. It's just to have that, to be able to say that you've been a small part of that huge show is an amazing thing. But I do have to say though that another green show, so Shrek the Musical, is another one of the best jobs I've ever done in my life. It was just, I was lucky enough to do it for 2 years. We did the first UK tour that went out, and oh my goodness me, when I tell you, that was just one of the best jobs in the world. It is just, again, one of the most magical shows, a very similar sort of story and vibe with Wicked, and all about acceptance and all, you know, and it just, and it's just awesome. And all of the characters that you get to play, you get to be these amazing make-believe characters that are just unbelievable. And so I had to touch on that because honestly, it's one of my favorite shows.
Oh, and just then, if you noticed, or if anyone watching noticed, I wasn't laughing at you. It was the fact the dog was barking, and I was laughing out of the corner of my eye. The fact that I could see Dad chasing it round, trying to grab it to stop it barking, but he wasn't really having very much luck.
Brilliant! I love that.
So that's just to show that I'm not being rude and laughing.
I've got a bit of a funny face, so.
So, what's your most memorable moment to date?
Oh wow. See, again, I think it's two moments, and again, they're going to be related to Wicked. For me, it's going to be. So obviously the first one was when I got offered the job. I remember I was sat with my best friend in his flat. We'd been waiting weeks and weeks and weeks, and the phone started ringing, and it was my agent. And it's funny because when something inside you just tells you this is going to be the phone call. And I said to my friend, I was like, look, don't feel uncomfortable. I'm so okay with it being a no, because obviously I never in a million years thought that I'd actually be offered the role in the West End. And so when my agent called me and just literally screamed down the phone like, Nikki, you've got the job, that is just a moment you picture in your mind, but you never think is a possibility. And then obviously it's also got to be the first time running out of the doors at the Victoria Apollo opening night, and being like, this is it, I've done it, I have achieved my ultimate dream that I never thought was at all possible. And it's
gravity.
This is it, Charlie. I just, and you can't put it into words. It's so special, and it's something I will forever hold dear in my heart.
So, #CheerUpCharlie was born due to the bullying I received for my love of dance and song, particularly because I don't fit the stereotype of what a boy should do. How do you think we can change the negative behaviour that seems to evolve from the playground?
So I think, as I think a lot of young people, experience, I've experienced bullying. Mine was because I always loved doing the arts, and it was a funny one because whenever we would, even simple things like the nativity play or plays that we would do at school, I would always get picked to be the lead part, and I was actually bullied for that. And people would, and I'm a very humble person. I pride myself in being very humble. I'm not, and I really struggled with that because I really hated the thought that people thought I was better than everyone else because I was, and it just, I was just good at what I did, and I loved it, and it just happened that way. And so I received a lot of bullying for that, and it actually resulted in me sort of dumbing down my abilities, if so to speak, because I was worried that I would be seen as being you know, stuck up or, you know, arrogant. And, you know, and I was so worried about people thinking of me that way that I actually, you know, dulled myself. You know, I was like, oh yeah, I can sing, but, you know, and so, you know, and it's, and you should, you know, that's the one beautiful thing about our industry is that everybody, you know, and you know, as soon as, when I will never forget the first time I heard about yourself, Charlie, and we just, I mean, you can see the way everybody got behind you, and that's what it's about. And it's about that love, and that, you know, people will own. I've never understood, you know, people being jealous, and it's the kind of industry where you're constantly judged every day for what you do. That's how you get a job. You know, so it's you know, we don't need it in our personal lives. And I just think it's really sad when people of your age are punished for following your dreams, because what you're doing could not be more brave, could not be more courageous, and could not be more fearless. It's, you know, to go against those people that are jealous, that are bitter, you know, and it's, unfortunately, you know, and it isn't just kids, adults do it as well. Unfortunately, there are people out there that just don't like to get behind people, and you just and the fact that you've and other people have had the strength to push through that and go, no, this is what I want to do, this is what I believe in, and I'm going to go with it. And look at what's happened. You know, you are, you know, such a young man, and you've made this enormous, positive, wonderful bubble for, you know, and it's just so amazing. I will never forget when we got the call when I was in Wicked to say that you were coming in, and I was like, oh my God, yes, I'm so happy and I'm so excited to meet you. And it's just, you know, you are an inspiration to people of your age that are going through the same thing and don't have a voice, you know, and they can, you know, what you're doing now, they can log into this chat and they can hear your experiences, and they can see you talking to people and know that, no, we're the people that are behind you. Those people don't matter, because, you know, it's such a hard thing to talk about, because it's what the impact people's words and actions have on you can be detrimental. And it's a really, you know, and it is hard, because as positive as social media is, and it has its negatives as well, because it gives these people a platform and a stage, so to speak, to be these horrible, you know. And it's just, I just think, yeah, it's amazing what you're doing. And I just think you are so, you know, I have it tattooed on my wrist, like, be brave, be fearless, you know, be strong. And you are that in a nutshell, you know, to combat these bullies and be like, no, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to be amazing. And look what's happened. It's, you know, you are a hero, Charlie, and it's amazing. And I think it's one of those things, I don't think we can ever stop it from happening, but I just would say to people, always talk to your teacher, talk to your parents, talk to your family, talk to your friends, because as soon as you've shared that problem, that's when people can help. You know, and that goes into adult life as well, you know, with mental health. You know, if you keep everything in, nobody can help you. Whereas as scary as it is, as soon as you open up about it, that's when people can help, and that's when people can get behind you and, you know, and bash these bullies down. So I think I just think, open up about it, be brave, tell your teacher, tell your parents, tell your friends, tell anybody that's in your circle that you feel that you trust enough to do so. And I think that's the only sort of way we can start to progress from that negative world of bullies.
Yeah. So, as I said, I'd come back to this topic at the start of my intro. In my eyes, you are a hero because you made the decision to stand down in Wicked due to anxiety, and then made the brave choice of speaking out about it. Like me, you decided to make a stand. Do you think there needs to be more accessibility or training to equip you with the pressures when you do your training, to then equip you with the pressures of going on stage and being.
Yeah, so I definitely think that it's not something I talk about massively, but I do think it's, that, and that's just a personal thing for myself, because I like to move on from it, so to speak. But I do think, anxiety is one of those things that's very apparent in our industry, but it's something that's never spoken about, and mental health in general. My anxiety was brought on by something that had happened in my personal life, which then ultimately was affected my job, because it was a high pressured situation, and because of myself. I'm someone that puts a lot of pressure on myself because I'm a perfectionist at what I do. So there were lots of little things. It wasn't Wicked that brought it on. It wasn't the role. It wasn't anything like that. It was just, unfortunately, for myself, life circumstances at the time that brought it on. And because of me being in a high pressured situation, it unfortunately resulted in me having to make the impossible and heartbreaking and devastating decision to leave my dream. And it's still something that I can't quite come to terms with. And it's really, really hard to sort of, think that I reached that dream, but then it was cut too short. But I did think that it was appropriate to, the reason I sort of spoke out about it was because I didn't want people to think that were in my shoes that felt they couldn't, because I felt like I couldn't open up about it, because first of all, I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't know what was happening to me and why I was having these feelings, but also I was scared to open up. This is going back to what we just spoke about with the bullies, that I was scared to open up about it because I thought people would judge me and think, oh, you're not capable of doing this job, you're not you're not strong enough to be a leading lady, you're not, all of these things, which then ultimately just put even more pressure on top of you, which then just makes the anxiety worse.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'd have opened up about it sooner, maybe we might have got to the bottom of it sooner, and I might have been able to, get a hold of it. I mean, we can't look back and go, oh, what if? But I do think that that's why I always say it's so important when you're feeling these things, know that it's normal and know that it can happen. And I'm someone that's never experienced anything like that in my life ever.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky. I've been very lucky in my career. I don't have a horror story to tell that people would go, oh, that's why that's brought on that. I've never had a director or anyone say, oh, you're rubbish at what you do. And it just goes to show it can happen to anyone at any point. And I just would say to anyone watching this, just to please just talk to somebody, because like I said, as soon as you take that first step, and that's what happened as soon as I opened up about it to, the wonderful people at Wicked and Playful. They showered me with, all they did was shower me with love and with help. And, it was just so unfortunate that I was so far in at that point. There was just no sort of getting back on the horse, so to speak. And, but they couldn't have been more supportive. And, all of my fellow actors and, colleagues there and friends that, and it was tough for them as well. And, it's hard for people to watch people become this shell of themselves because of this horrible, what do you call it? Illness? I say, I personally hate calling it that, but we'll just call it that, takes over you, and you just become this, when I first got that job, I bounded into the rehearsal room every day at rehearsals. I was like, yes, I'm literally living the dream. The first couple of months at the show were amazing and I loved it. And then it just started to little things, and it just, so it was a really traumatic time for me. But it's also something that, I refuse to let it define me. And I, hence why I chose to speak out about it, because I don't want to be remembered for the person that left Wicked because they had anxiety, and I said, and I said in my post, I will get back there one day and I will finish my Elphaba journey properly, as I should have done. Absolutely. And, I feel like I can't rest until I've at least tried to do that, and I think that's, it's, I think it's, just share it with someone, because I feel so passionate about it, because it's so important because you feel so alone. You feel like you can't talk to somebody because they're not going to understand. And, as soon as you do, that's the road to recovery then. As soon as you, and that's when things start to turn round. And so I now refuse to be known as, this is, and going back to, this is why I don't talk about it too much. Just because I don't want, and not because I'm ashamed of it in any way, but because I don't want to be remembered for that. It happened to me. I let the world know what happened, because again, it was a lot of pressure as well, people making up their own assumptions as to what happened. So I felt like it was time to just go, look, this is what happened. There we go. We can leave it now, close that chapter and move on. And so it's, and I was performing a couple of weeks ago with Thesby, and doing a concert for them, which was incredible. That was the first time I've properly performed since Wicked, and so that was huge for me, and I was so grateful to be involved in that. And so I'm coming back stronger, coming back, even more resilient than before, and one day I will get back to the Victoria Apollo, and I will hold that broom in my hand, and I will fly again one day and finish that Elphaba journey properly.
So now's for some funny, interesting and silly questions, my favorite questions.
Awesome.
So what role would you most like to play, regardless of gender, animal or age?
Ooh.
Or era?
Do you know what? I would love to be in Cats, just to say that I've been in Cats, because I think anyone that can say they've done that show is an absolute hero to me, because it is so intense. They are athletes, they are incredible. So that's my animal one for you.
Okay.
Male part. Ooh. Do you know what? Galileo would be really fun in We Will Rock You.
Yeah.
That would be a really good. And do you know what? And more of like a recent, I do think Dear Evan Hansen, I would love to have a crack at that. Because I just love what it stands for. And it's so beautifully written. And the songs are just, stunning. So yeah, off the top of my head now, they're two that stick out.
Yeah.
But if we do this again, I'll have another think.
Okay. So what do you still most get in trouble for doing?
Ooh, as in everyday life or within the industry? Ooh,
everyday life.
Ooh, now there's a question. Oh, that's what do I get in trouble for? I'm really bad at replying to people. This is a really rubbish one, but I'm really bad at replying to people. But then I will always be the first person to be like, why are you not messaging me back? Where are you? And I'm the worst person for it. I'll put my phone down and be like, oh God, I forgot. I'm so sorry. That's a rubbish one. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else that, no, I can't think of anything else.
Have you got any embarrassing moments that you would much rather forget, but no, you never will?
Ooh, embarrassing moments. Oh, yes, I do. And it is theatre related, but it's too good to not say. So back to my first job, Mamma Mia. So it was at the Prince of Wales. So we had the jetty that used to come out of the stage and the revolving trucks and everything. There was one scene that it went from the hen party scene into name of the game, which is a lovely moment between Sophie and one of her 3 dads. And so halfway through that song, there's a table that gets put in between the 2 tavernas, which my part that I was on for that evening had to then pick up and be the first person to leave the stage. But when I put it down, I set it too far back, and behind where the jetty used to come up to create some stairs, as it came, and I was on the table at this point as well, I was kneeling on the table. As the stairs came down, because the table was too far over, they caught the legs of the table and they got stuck in the jetty. And I fell backwards and literally had to do this against the 2 tavernas whilst there's this intimate moment going on, literally like, oh my God, it's stuck in the floor. I don't know what to do. So then the scene changes coming up. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? And I turned around, I tried to get it out the floor. It obviously was stuck between the jetty. Everybody had to run around. And then literally throughout this lovely song, Name of the Game, there was this table that was sort of like stuck like this in the middle of the stage. And it was, oh gosh, I mean, I laugh about it now, but at the time it was horrendous and I will never forget it.
What's your most disgusting habit?
My most disgusting habit. I wouldn't say it's disgusting, but I have this really weird habit where I chew the inside of my mouth. Where I do that and I chew this. It does sound pretty gross actually when I say
Oh no,
it.
don't worry, I do that sometimes.
And I chew the inside of my mouth, like the skin. That's actually disgusting, yeah. And it's really bad. And I do it to the point where it's all like really sore and yeah.
Okay, I never do that. I have the occasional but never do that. Okay. All right, now for some quick fire questions.
Oh God, here we go.
Chocolate or Haribo?
Chocolate.
Text or talk?
Text.
Heels or flats?
Flats.
Best concert ever been to?
Celine Dion.
Last song downloaded?
It was a Disney song. I can't remember. Oh, it was Octave's album.
Okay.
Octave.
It was a Disney song. It's now Octave's album. Favorite place to eat?
Oh gosh. Five Guys. I don't really know.
Well, once lockdown's over, I guess we'll have to go for food.
We'll have to go to Five Guys, Charlie. Absolutely.
Okay. Superpower.
Awesome. Oh, see, flight.
First celebrity crush.
Oh, you probably won't know, but it was a guy called Paul Walker.
Okay. Favorite city.
Oh, New York. The dog.
Harry Potter house.
Oh, Gryffindor.
Very, very amazing. So, in fact, no, that's not amazing. I'm a Slytherin.
Oh, Slytherin, controversial, Charlie.
Amazing, very, very amazing. No, I'm a Slytherin. Amazing. Tongue twister now. You should be amazing at these, so I found you a nice hard one.
Okay.
You can repeat after me and then go on your own.
Okay.
Which wrist watches are Swiss wrist watches? Now you go.
Can you say it for me one more time?
Which wrist watches are Swiss wrist watches?
Which wrist watches are Swiss wrist watches?
Yeah. Well,
I had to really think about that.
Well done.
Awesome. No, don't worry.
Oh, well done, Nikki. Well done. You got through the interview. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Yes.
And thank you so much for doing this. It was a pleasure and an honor interviewing you.
thank you for having me. It's been an honor and a privilege being your guest, Charlie. So thank you for having me. And before you go, I'm going to take a little screenshot of us because I loved, right. So I'll do that. So I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to pull a funny face. Okay. So 3, 2, 1. Brilliant. Yes. Stunning.
Awesome.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun. And
Thank
yeah,
you so much
please
for doing this.
please have me back sometime soon.
Will do. Live and in person.
Oh, well, this is it. Absolute fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. And just sending all of you and your family so much love for Christmas. Please stay safe. And yeah, and hopefully, yeah, speak to you soon, my angel.
Bye.
Love,
Bye.
love.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Bye.
You too. Merry Christmas. Mwah.
Bye, Nikki. Oh, what another amazing interview. I so loved that one. She was so nice and she opened up. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. So if you want more interviews like that, then make sure to like and subscribe. And when you subscribe, turn on them notifications. Woo, yeah. And also go follow my Instagram, because then we can make an even bigger change. And I know you guys want to make a change. I want to make a change. So let's do it. So see you later, everybody, and have a Merry Christmas and stay safe.